Hello and welcome to this new video. Today we will explore this entire corridor where almost all of Egypt's pyramids are clustered. From Abu Rawash in the north all the way down to the Fayoum Oasis. There is a lot going on here in this area on the west bank of the Nile. And in this video I will show you many ancient structures and pyramids that are forgotten, overlooked, or in some cases almost completely hidden from the public eye. Some of them have never been fully excavated, some have been excavated decades ago only to be forgotten and buried again, and others are located in military-controlled areas and are restricted to the public. We will also take a closer look at a secret military base near the pyramids of Giza, as well as the infamous unfinished pyramids of Zawyet, el-Aryan and Abu Rawash. So stay tuned, grab a drink and enjoy this video. We will start here at the pyramids of Giza, and here you can see the city of Giza, which today is a multi-million metropolis. And here are the famous pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx. I will not spend too much time on Giza today because so much has been already said about it and I have a detailed video about it coming up. Let's go a little bit north. Roughly here at the height of the city of Cairo, I would say, is where this pyramid corridor ends to the north. And here we can see the community of Abu Rawash. And Abu Rawash is also extremely interesting. It is one of those places that the Egyptian government does not promote at all as a tourist attraction. So very few tourists ever end up here. And there is very little information out there about Abu Rawash, but there are some very interesting things to see here. So this here is the so-called unfinished pyramid of Djedefre. Yeah, officially it is an unfinished pyramid, but in my opinion there is very little real evidence that this was ever a proper pyramid. So these kind of so-called unfinished pyramids, they actually appear in several places in Egypt and they all look very similar. Yeah, you have this trench, this gigantic trench that has been cut down into the bedrock, and at the bottom of it, it forms a sort of T-shaped pit. And down there, no one really knows what was actually down there. And you can see that Abu Rawash, or this unfinished pyramid, lies up on a kind of plateau, similar to the Giza plateau. And what's really interesting about it is, if this really once was a pyramid, then this pyramid would have stood above all the other pyramids, even overlooking the pyramids of Giza. Because of this elevation here on this plateau, it would have been the highest pyramid in Egypt. Unfortunately, this whole area here around this so-called pyramid of Djedefre is controlled by the Egyptian military. There is no fence or a wall around it, but there is also no proper road leading up there. And it took me actually several attempts to figure out how to get there. And what I ended up doing was simply parking my car here on the highway. I just left my car here at this spot and then I just walked up there by foot. Yeah, you basically just walk over desert sand. Yeah, there is no real path or a road. So I hiked up there on this slope here, and at the top there is some kind of radio tower. And that radio tower is controlled by the Egyptian government or by the military. So technically no one is supposed to go up there without permit. But since there is no fence or signboards, I thought, okay, I'll just play dumb, you know. So I walked up there and calmly looked around and filmed everything. The video is up here on our channel. And I was really lucky because only when I was already on my way back down, someone probably noticed me from this radio tower, and someone immediately drove down there with his car and intercepted me somewhere on the way down. The good thing was he didn't really speak English, so he basically was just shouting at me, telling me to go down to my car, and he threatened me to call the police on me. But yeah, I was able to film the entire site in peace. It's a really cool video. You can find it here on our channel. And Abu Rawash is also home to the mysterious staircase that has been cut straight into the bedrock. Yeah, this black line that you see here is actually a staircase that simply leads downwards, apparently into nothing. And down there, everything is full of trash, as you can see. And there is also a kind of water shaft. And many people think it's a Roman step well. But personally, I think there is a possibility that this leads into this underground corridor system that we find all over this pyramid belt, let's say. Behind this staircase, just a few hundred meters away, there is also a man-made cave. It hasn't been fully excavated, it is definitely man-made. And I have visited this stairs in the desert as well. The video is linked up here. Super interesting, check it out if you have time. And all of these square dark spots that you see here on the map, those are all vertical shafts that lead straight down. And because of that, I have my doubts that this stairs is really a so-called step well. Yeah, why do they need the stairs when they have like dozens of other shafts that can be used as a well? I think there is a system of connected corridors down there. Same as under the Giza Plateau. Yeah, this is the mysterious stairs of Abu Rawash. And then we have here in Abu Rawash also the so-called Lepsius Pyramid No. 1. And this is honestly one of the many tragedies here in Egypt. You can see it borders directly on a residential area, and it really looks like this pyramid will probably disappear completely in the near future. It has not been properly excavated or seriously investigated. And again, we see many of these shafts going straight down also here in this area. And it almost looks like as if this whole area here is being turned into construction land. But as you can see, there seems to be no effort at all by the Egyptian government to seriously protect these sites. On the contrary, you can see that the city keeps spreading out, and it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster, and it's probably going to get worse. And why is it called Lepsius Pyramid No. 1? Because it has been discovered by Carl Richard Lepsius. He was a German Egyptologist in the 19th century, one of the pioneers in his field in Egypt. And he has discovered and described and excavated many pyramids and mastabas in the 19th century. And many of them are still called Lepsius pyramids. I think he discovered and documented well over 20 or 30 pyramids. And many of them he excavated also. And a lot of them have been later simply forgotten again. Same as this Lepsius Pyramid No. 1. It has been described, excavated, and then it has been simply forgotten again and was buried by the desert sand. And until today, the Egyptian authorities simply ignore many of these sites. And in my opinion, they're actually hoping that people will forget these structures so that they can build over it and the whole thing just quietly disappears from our memory. And then I found something else interesting here. Up on a hill directly overlooking the Lepsius Pyramid No. 1, there is a kind of entrance into the rock. Not sure what this is. And as you can see from up here, you again have a beautiful view over the pyramids of Giza and Abu Rawash. But what is this place? What is this? Just an entrance out there into the mountain. Strange, really. And there's also something here. Can you see that? There are many of these entrances in the middle of the desert. Today I will show you many of these. And then here in Abu Rawash we also have this structure up here. I honestly don't know what this is supposed to be. There is also a huge wall around it, as you can see. And there seems to be also some serious access control here. Probably also run by the Egyptian military. And again, you see entrances everywhere. Who knows what this is or where they lead, really? Everywhere in Egypt where we find pyramids and temples, you always find shafts or tunnels leading down nearby. Every single time. And it really seems like the Egyptian government is doing something down there. I mean, obviously. Okay, let's move on. Let's go south. We will pass by Giza. We will skip that today and go a little bit more south. And here we will reach the area of Zawyet el-Aryan. Unfortunately, this entire area that you see here is now a gigantic military base. And here at Zawyet el-Aryan, we have one of the most mysterious and controversial sites in all of Egypt. Yeah, there is another so-called unfinished pyramid over here, which looks very similar to the one at Abu Rawash that we just looked at, only much larger. And down there, they found a very mysterious granite tank. And we will take a closer look at this now. Unfortunately, in the 1960s, the Egyptian military took control over this whole area here. And now nobody can get in anymore. Down there, they found this strange granite tank. And it has an oval shape. And it was carved directly into this massive granite blocks on the floor. Here you can see what this granite sarcophagus once looked like. When this site was discovered in the early 19th century by Italian researchers, they first noticed only some granite fragments in the sand and they started digging. And what emerged was this gigantic trench that has been cut into the bedrock, same as in Abu Rawash. There were also steps leading down, and at the bottom you have this granite floor made of these massive granite blocks, and in the middle sits this mysterious oval tank. And the entire trench was filled with huge limestone blocks. Some of them had also hieroglyphs from the 3rd and 4th dynasty carved into them. And these huge limestone blocks had just been thrown in there, and they had to remove them with a great effort over a long time. And in their written reports, they clearly state that they assume that this place was intentionally sealed. This is what it looked like, a staircase going down, and then this massive granite flooring, and in the middle is this strange sarcophagus. Super mysterious site. We'll probably make a separate video about it soon, but until this day, no one really knows what this is or what this structure was used for. What we can say is that there are several sites in Egypt that look almost exactly like this. Yeah, the same style. And there is only one single video footage of this unfinished pyramid of Zawyet el-Aryan from the old Hollywood movie The Land of the Pharaohs from the 1950s. In that movie there is a short scene showing this so-called unfinished pyramid. So let's take a quick look at it.
What is that stone, Father? That's the sarcophagus of the pharaoh. The stone that will hold his body after death.
Is that thing hollow then, Vashta?
Yes. The top part can be lifted to receive the body.
Where does it go to?
Into a great chamber in the pyramid. But where that is, you must not know.
And the Italian explorers in the 19th century who cleared the site also wrote that this sarcophagus was covered or sealed with a layer of clay or mud on top of it. And they really described it as a kind of sealant to make it watertight. And when they finally cleared this entire pit and they reached the tank, they opened the lid. And surprise, surprise, there was nothing inside. The only thing that they described is some kind of band of a black substance inside this tank. And this brings us to another topic, which is the black goo or the black substance that we find in several pyramids in Egypt. Sometimes it's even like leaking out of the stone itself. And in the Red Pyramid, we also find a lot of this black stuff. And this black substance from the Red Pyramid has actually been analyzed in a laboratory by a group of Russian scientists. And they found extremely rare and exotic metals in this black goo. If you want to know more about it, you can check out the video here. So yeah, as I said, Zawyet el-Aryan is no longer accessible today. Since the 1960s, it has been converted into a military base, and even Egyptologists consider Zawyet el-Aryan to be one of the most mysterious sites in all of Egypt. And it's definitely not a place they like to talk about. Yeah, today it is located here in the military base, and the exact position is here. You can still see a bit of a depression here. Yeah, this is the unfinished pyramid of Zawyet el-Aryan. They put some kind of wall around it and they filled it up with sand, planted a few trees over it, and I guess that's it for the next decades. Very sad story. And yeah, it gets even crazier, folks, much crazier. There is also a so-called layer pyramid here at Zawyet el-Aryan. This is the layer pyramid. This one is not in a restricted military area. As you can see, this is outside of the walled area. Maybe I will visit it soon when I'm in Egypt again. Also interesting, by the way, the name Zawyet el-Aryan can be translated to the corner of Orion or the angle of Orion. And I find this really interesting because there are some researchers out there who believe that these so-called unfinished pyramids have been used to observe celestial objects. Yeah, that they served as some kind of observatories to look at stars or planets or whatever. And if you consider this possibility, then the name Zawyet el-Aryan makes a lot of sense. And there is also the theory that the 3 pyramids of Giza are actually a reflection of the Orion's belt. Personally, I don't think that these structures are unfinished pyramids. And also the Italian explorers have clearly stated in their records that they don't believe that this was ever a pyramid. But now we come to the real bombshell here at Zawyet el-Aryan, because I noticed something pretty crazy here. So I took a closer look at this whole area here around the military base, because I find it really strange that the Egyptian government built such a huge military facility so close to the pyramids of Giza and the most important monuments of human history. So I kept looking around a bit, and here we have an area here in this military base where you have different, I don't know, exercising fields, also soccer fields. Not sure what all these squares are being used for. And then over here, there is a very small gate or an opening here at the wall at a very unremarkable spot here at this military base. And from here, a kind of desert road leads out. It's not a paved road, just a track in the sand. And if you follow this track through the desert, after a while you arrive at this crazy facility. Some kind of massive military installation. No idea what this is. And here we can see entrances again. And for sure these entrances, they lead into the underground, because where else can it go, no? It's really insane. And look at the size of this thing as well. Let's measure it quickly. From here to here. Let's check. Wow, it's around 700 meters. 700 meters, that's huge. And it's really interesting that it's just like a track in the sand that leads to this facility. I mean, they don't really have like a concrete road leading to it. That's so weird. You have to drive a long way through the desert to get there. And imagine this, you drive here along this track here through the desert in the middle of nowhere, and then you reach this kind of wall of sand here, yeah? And after that there is checkpoints and stuff. Why would you build something like this so close to the pyramids? Built this, I think, in the 60s or in the 70s. And at that time, there was still so much to discover in this area. It's really strange. And as you can see, there is many entrances just leading underground. You can see it clearly, and they are huge. Look how big they are. There are 2 cars here. You can easily drive a truck into those openings. So what on earth is hidden down there? You can also see some other old structures here, probably. And more small entrances. There is so much secrecy in Egypt. It's unbelievable, really. And from here, there is another access road. Another kind of secret track that hardly anyone would notice. Look here. See, this is the highway. And then here you have this guardrail. It's just briefly interrupted here at this spot. And then from here, just a simple sand track leads off into the desert. And trust me, nobody would ever randomly go there. You probably have to drive through the desert for almost an hour or so, until you finally reach this place. Then there's this wall of sand, so you probably can't even see what's behind it. And then you pass through this security checkpoint here. Crazy, really. Look at these entrances, they are enormous. You can really park a truck in there. Unbelievable. If anyone knows what this is, please write it in the comments. So let's move on. Let's go more south. Here we have the pyramids of Abu Rawash. And maybe some of you have already noticed, here we have another one of these so-called unfinished pyramids. This is the so-called unfinished pyramid of Nefertari. We have also visited this one. Please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. Then below the pyramid field of Abu Rawash, we arrive at Saqqara. And here we have the step pyramid of Djoser, which is probably the oldest pyramid in Egypt. And beneath the step pyramid of Djoser lies this gigantic granite cube that no one really understands, in my opinion. The video is out already. You can find it here. Check it out. Then we have the Pyramid of Unas, also in Saqqara, also a very interesting pyramid. Inside the Pyramid of Unas, we found clues that the ancient Egyptians might have added the hieroglyphs inside the pyramid only much later. It looks like as if they have applied a layer of plaster or mortar inside the pyramid, and then they have stamped the hieroglyphs into the walls. Check out the video, it's very compelling. Yeah, then right next to the Pyramid of Unas, we have the so-called Southern Tomb. It's also a subterranean facility, and it looks almost identical to what lies beneath the Step Pyramid of Djoser. And down there we found glass. In this giant shaft that you see here, we discovered traces of glass and extreme heat. Also in Saqqara we have up here the famous Serapeum, the underground complex with these massive granite boxes. It's somewhere here. Then we have the Tomb of Tea, also super interesting structure here in Saqqara. Yeah, then we continue further south. Here we find some more smaller pyramids. Here we have the Pyramid of Pepi and the Pyramid of Djedefre Isesi and some other minor pyramids here in this area. Then we have here the southern South Saqqara pyramids, which were probably last excavated more than 100 years ago. And today they're basically left to rot there in the desert. Here we have another pyramid that you're not allowed to visit. I believe this one is also inside a military restricted area. I don't know exactly what this installation is here, but I'm pretty sure this is also controlled by the military. So yeah, most of these abandoned structures and pyramids out here in the desert, they actually have been excavated 100 or even 200 years ago, and they have been described in detail, and today they are once again completely covered by desert sand and are just forgotten. This happens very fast in the desert. If you're not taking care of these places, this happens very fast. Yeah, and down here we have another group of very important pyramids. This here is the area of Dahshur. And here we have the Red Pyramid, the Bent Pyramid, and the Black Pyramid. We have visited all of them. Some videos are already online, others are in progress. And here again, behind Dahshur, behind the Bent Pyramid, you can see there is another extremely long wall and another restricted area. And here we also find more mysterious facilities. No idea what we're looking at here. If anyone knows what this is, please let us know in the comments. I find this absolutely fascinating. So much secrecy in Egypt, really. See here, very strange. And again, so close to the pyramids. And then further south, less and less pyramids. We have two more here. And then we reach the Fayoum Oasis. This here is the Fayoum Oasis. And here we have the Maidum Pyramid. Also a very interesting structure. The video about the Maidum Pyramid is already online. You can watch it here. And inside the Maidum Pyramid, we also found glass. Check out the video, and if you know how to explain this glass inside the Maidum Pyramid, please let us know. Okay, let's continue. Here we have the Lahun Pyramid, also very interesting, and the Hawara Pyramid. And here I found another very strange subterranean complex, it seems like. No idea what this is. See, what a mysterious place, really. And why always so close to the pyramids? So mysterious. Look at these weird entrances again. What is this? But it always looks like it's going down. What is this supposed to be? So many questions in Egypt, really. It's really fascinating to look around on Google Earth in Egypt. So much strange stuff going on here. And always so close to the pyramids. Wherever there are pyramids, you also find these shafts going down into the bedrock. See, all over the place. So crazy what's going on in Egypt, really, so crazy. And always this secrecy from the government, no? Officially they always say, there's nothing down there, or they just don't address it at all. Yeah guys, and now towards the end of this video, I've got something very mysterious for you, probably the craziest thing of all. Look at this here, in the middle of the desert, literally in the middle of nowhere, look at this. What is this? What on earth is this? You have this gigantic wall that seems to be made of these massive blocks. And in the middle, there is this perfect round circle with a cross inside. What is this? What are we looking at? Let's measure this thing. Let's check here from corner to corner. About 500 meters. 500 meters, guys. What is this? Strange, really. Yeah, and there is more, guys. There is more. I looked around this place a bit more and I found this here. Check this out. Over here, you have an area where there is like also circles. And inside the circles, there's shapes of airplanes. See, they look like airplanes, but somehow they also don't look like airplanes. What is this? Here. See? Outlines that look like airplanes. What is this? And then we have these strange interrupted lines that run across the desert here. What on earth is this? These dashed lines here. Very strange. Do you see this? What is this? That's so odd. These lines are everywhere. Dotted lines here stretching all across the desert, and they always have the exact same spacing between each other. This is really mysterious. There's more of these dashed lines. It stretches all across the desert. Look how far this goes. There has to be some explanation for this. These lines go for hundreds of kilometers through the desert. What is this? And there's more. Check this out. So you can see here there is many tracks leading here to this hill. There appears to be also some caves maybe. And yeah, then I looked a little bit more here and I followed this road here in the desert. And then you reach this intersection here. So I thought, okay, let's follow this road here down south. Check this out here. First there is this arrow here. Yeah, and then there is this dark black, I don't even know what this is. Is this a building or what is this? So creepy. And what's also strange, I noticed that this arrow here, it points exactly to this giant circle structure there. Let's check it out. See, if you connect this here with the line, you see it points exactly at this giant structure. What is going on here? And what is this black building here? Really, this gives me the chills. What is this? Imagine you really go there to see it in person. I don't even know if I want to do that. That's crazy. And also this road, no? It simply ends there. It just ends there. So weird, really. It really makes you wonder, what is all of this? Yeah, guys, let me know in the comments, what do you think about all of this? What are we looking at here? Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video about the pyramid corridor. As always, if you like to support our work, you can find the PayPal link in the description. Thank you for watching, have a wonderful day, and see you in the next video. Ciao!